Hey there, welcome to SharkCast Pod, a podcast dedicated to the greatest sporting club in the history of the world, the mighty Cronulla Sharks. My name is Sam Shinazzi. As I look at my settings, and I shouldn't be doing this while we're hitting record, but I'm here with the great Josh Bolling, and we're going to talk to you about all things Cronulla Sharks like we do every week, multiple times a week. And we're brought to you by Dyson Logistics, the Royal Motor Yacht Club in Port Hacking, and Jason Hawes at Cripps and Cripps Real Estate. I'm Sam Shinazzi. I don't know if I've said that before or not, but there you go. Can't say it enough, apparently. And we are here to talk about our team that is proceeding to week 2 of the finals. Our club is all throughout the finals, and we are in NRLW, we are in Jersey Flag, we are in Harvey Norman Women's, so we're really going well as a club. So fantastic to be on board with them all. Josh, now, you're coming through loud and clear, a little bit croaky, and it got me worried because your health has been a bit of an issue for the past few months. However, this is self-inflicted, and our audience will appreciate why, and it has everything to do with the monumental event that happened last Saturday night at Shark Stadium. It started at the Hairy Man Brewery. You and I and a whole bunch of people were there having a great time, and it sounds like it didn't stop there. You and I split ways at the gate, and we're all feeling a little bit hoarse after that, but you're still got a little bit of something in your throat.
Yeah, I think I may have blew out the voice box on the hill out there on the weekend. I gave it absolutely everything I had, trying to get the boys home, and maybe just one too many abusive comments to the Roosters, all in good fun, and maybe a couple too many drinks. We did party until the early hours at Vinyl Room until the lights came up. So it was a big night. Lots of watching the Toby Rudolph try on replay on the dance floor and talking about how we're going to go win the comp and all manner of things. It was a great night.
It was a great night. Now, tell us about the performance. Most important thing, the performance from the team. It was fantastic. Just been 2 months of mostly great football, culminating in the Bulldogs game and then the game last week against the Roosters at home. Very physical, everything you wanted to see, they did it. What did you make of it? What did you like?
I just love the commitment. I think you could really see and feel it on the night. Just they didn't want to be beat, and I think you could sense that. And there's been times under Fitzy where you thought, do they really want this? And you just knew they were going to do whatever and everything they could to win. And I think that's what I was most pleased with and proud of. And we was like pretty much right in front of Toby when he scored that try, and just like the elation, and you could see it on like just watching the replay and like live, like the emotion of the boys like getting up and everyone, giving us crap like we, saying we celebrate like we won a grand final. But when it's elimination football, every week is like a grand final because it might be a last chance. And I think just probably the weight lifted off the shoulders of the boys, and you could see that, and I was just so proud of them.
Oh, we'll talk a bit about that throughout the show. I should point out, Josh and we're here for a good time, not a long time. You're going to get a lot of great content out of us tonight, but it's not a traditional flagship show. We'll get to your mail and that kind of thing in another episode, but we are going to talk a little bit about what's been happening in the press this week. But just on that, I mean, we all felt it. If you didn't feel that at the ground or even watching on TV, then you're probably not as invested as all of us, because it was a massive relief, massive weight. The game was still alive when he scored that try, and we thoroughly deserved to win, but there was no guarantee we were going to win. And we've seen what the Roosters can do. We've seen what we can do. We've seen us give up leads. So when he crossed, the way he crossed, and I've said it a few times on the show on a few episodes, that when they went to him fifth tackle, I was a slow motion, like, no, what are you doing? And then very quickly, having a great time too, yahooing. So great effort. I love what you said about the commitment, playing for each other. They are definitely in that zone. They have been for most of the year. There's been a change. We know since the Brisbane loss, they've really bonded even more, and it's a very happy club. They're very committed, and you saw it out there in color. You saw it just happening in front of your eyes, And it's weird, Josh, like I had a million messages about the coverage of both networks covering it on TV. And I've gone back and watched it and seen what everyone's talking about. But I didn't think the Roosters played that poorly. People were like, oh, and like I understand they blew some chances, whatever. But I didn't think we walked away going like we had an easy win over the Roosters. It was tough and it went down to the wire. And we played better and we defended better. We did everything better. But they were not bad. They just didn't sort of capitalize. The halves kind of got the hippie shakes a little bit. But I was quite surprised that people talking down the Roosters after that performance.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that come out. The further away we've gotten from the game, the more people have been saying, oh, you know, like saw Braith today on his podcast was saying that the Roosters were awful and, you know, all this stuff. And I'm like, I get that. But also, you've got to take into account that we didn't allow them to play good or like to their potential. Because I'm with you. I thought they were quite strong and maybe not so much an attack, but their defense and their ability to keep us in our end, like that beats a lot of teams in this comp, right? But I thought like our kick pressure on Hugo was, you know, those sort of things. Like he had the big boot. We did not let him. We forced him to kick bombs a lot as opposed to getting those long kicks. And even coming out of our own ends, like we didn't make the errors that we probably normally would have and given them a shot. We most of the time, we maybe only get to 20 or 30 meters, but we were getting through the set and kicking and staying in the grind and waiting for them to make the mistake, which they often did. And I think that comes down to our tenacity in defense.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I thought particularly, the first half and also the first 20 minutes of each half, they were really good, the Roosters. And they scored first. And the start of that second half, I didn't necessarily see us getting out of there. I was sitting in that half up above watching it. And it was like, we can't get out of here. And it was only through some really good kicking and then really good coaching which we were just about to sort of crack. And then Fitzgibbon brought on Fanua Blake and Britton Nikira at the same time. And that was it. They turned the tide and we were ready to go. But it was a hard fought win. And I found that really surprising. Even, as recent as today, people saying, they weren't at their best, but they could have won the game. So they can't have been that bad because we were pretty good. So anyway, I love the defense of this team, Josh. Like defensively, they're going so well. They're the best defensive team since round 19. They're averaging, I think, 15 points a game in defense conceding, which is pretty good at this time of the year. It's pretty good any time of the year. And got to keep it up. Got to keep going. Like you against Canberra, you're going to have to keep them to a certain amount. And we're one game at a time. That's all we're worried about. But really good signs. And I thought, as far as players go, I thought Trindle started a bit slow, but obviously he was pretty much man of the match. And I think he was the difference in the end. I think he was the difference.
Oh, definitely. I think, you watch the game or, if you watch the highlights, you go, Tricky had a great game. Definitely. But it was a lot of the things around that too, like the in-game stuff, the game management, the kicking, always looking for an option, like getting kicked in the face. And we thought, he's gone. Like Tricky's, because he ended up on the sideline and we're like, he's concussed for sure. And just battling through that, like that's semi-final football. And that's the kind of commitment you need to win a finals game. And like you said, when we were really struggling, we were saying on the hill, like we're gone here, like we're in big trouble.
Oh.
And then the double interchange, you saw AFB and Nicho run on. I just turned to my mate and said, these two are on. If we can get the ascendancy back here, we'll win. And I thought AFB's second stint was first class, absolutely first class. And I thought Nicho had a really strong comeback game too.
The whole forward pack were great and the bench were great. To a man, even someone like Kafusi played less minutes.
Yeah.
He was really good in the middle. And the brute thing was kind of weird, but it worked to a T. Like it was perfect. So full marks to the coach and the coaching staff for having the guts to do it. A lot of people are like, what are you doing? Well, they're rewarding one guy. They're giving another guy a bit of grace, not throwing him in the deep end. And then he just came on and ripped in. Because I was a little bit hesitant, Josh, thinking, well, we've seen Britt be quiet in games. He can't be quiet in the 30 minutes he's going to play, and he wasn't. He was fantastic from the first hit up. And, whether we see that again on Saturday or not, we'll work out what happens closer to the game. But just the forwards were fantastic. Toby Rudolph getting a lot of highlights, and absolutely he should. He was remarkable, and it was brute strength and skill that got him across the line. And we needed it badly. And it was last tackle. If he doesn't score there, we're still defending for, 4 or 5 minutes. So, but overall, just a fantastic game. He's had a really good year, really good return after his injuries. Saved the game against the Dolphins. Cannot be said enough that he's in really good form. We need it again this week. We need that Toby. We don't need other Tobys. We need that Toby. There's no reason to think he won't bring it again. And he's starting. And, I think he surprised a bunch of us. I think he's almost surprised himself a little bit. Definitely. And it's great to see. And it's just for us to do things this year that are special or more special, we need every player to play out of their skin. Thought the fullback was really good. He's obviously maligned week in, week out. Look, he was really good. The guy who I thought was not at his best, but still did a good job, was the halfback.
Yep. Yeah, I thought Nicho was relieved. It looked like he was relieved of the pressure because Tricky was playing so well. And we've seen in the past when if Tricky's off and it's all on Nicho, that's when you can see the nerves and the pressure kind of get to him. But he was just able to play his game. He was game managing. He was able to run the ball a lot more. Kicking game was really good, I thought too. Like he doesn't have the boot that Tricky has, but his pinpoint bombs and just placement I thought was quite good. He didn't find the grass as much as I would have liked, but hard to when you're taking a kick 30 meters out of your line. He'll need to be better next week if we want to, or this week if we want to win. We can't just rely on Trindle. Having said that, that edge is the edge that is the concern for Canberra. That right edge is Tricky's side, so I still think we're going to have to go there a lot as well. But I thought he was good.
I thought he was good. I guess the reason I bring it up is there are a few things that I saw where I just went, this is not finals footy. And it was in moments where we kind of needed him not to do it. And it was fine. We won the game by 10 points. But he learns from that, moves on. He was good. Thankfully, Trindle was great. And that was the difference. Let's talk about some of the hoopla from the week that was, Josh. And it revolves around Nicho Hynes. And there's mixed opinions about this. Essentially, it was kind of strange because Ronaldo came out in the press last week saying he doesn't care about anything and say what you want. We're going to prove you wrong. And he did. Ronaldo was incredible. And then this week, Nicho has come out and I'm obviously paraphrasing a lot, but sort of said, well, we do care what you say and you don't say the right things. And then we don't care about that either, but obviously he cares because he's brought it up. And as soon as I heard the statements, because it was from him, and I should clarify that we love and adore him, but because he is so, again, I'll use the word maligned, I kind of a cold shiver up my spine. And we've talked about it on the group text. We've talked about it with lots of people. My concern was, and it's sort of come true, is that it's put an extra pressure externally, so not internally, but externally on them. Or how do I put that right? From the outside world. So inside world, yeah, they don't care. But the outside world, now it's all we're talking about. Can they win? Can they win the comp? And it's kind of just brought too much attention for my liking to a team that was really under the radar. Now, he might have the last laugh. I'm not being critical of him and what he says because he's an open, honest book, and I love that about him. So I'm not going to criticize him for being like that. I'm merely suggesting to you and our audience that I could have maybe done with either someone else saying it or him waiting till a prelim at least, because I'm worried for him that it's going to come back and get him. It may not be this week. It may be down the track. I don't know. Am I looking at it too closely, Josh?
No, I completely see what you're saying. And when I first read it and saw it, I thought the same thing. I thought, oh, we didn't need this. But then, like, as the week went on and excuse me, and the media went on, I thought he's absolutely justified in what he's saying, because it doesn't seem, no matter what we do, and we saw it. We just talked about it, that everyone's saying the Roosters were so bad that's why we won, and it was nothing to do with that we played well or that we forced them into errors, blah blah blah. And that's exactly what he's saying. I think maybe the calls for like the respect and all that stuff's a bit, whatever. But I think the sentiment of what he's talking about is correct. And I kind of like the siege mentality, and you know what, no one gives us a chance, because we've tried it a few different ways in the media and trying to be the nice guys and stuff. And I'm like, you know what, let's just give it. Let's, put the finger up at everyone and say, you know what, stuff this. We're going to come out and we're going to prove you wrong. But you have to win.
So, yeah, you have to win. But also, I'm with you. He's completely right in what he's saying. And I can tell you that people within the camp feel exactly the same way. And obviously, it's sort of reached a point where it's like, I'm going to say something. And he was just in a press conference. He didn't sort of have some big outburst. He was just talking. He's Nicho and he talks. So it wasn't dramatic. But when it's in black and white or it's a news headline, then it becomes dramatic. So I'm not putting shame on him. I'm proud of him for everything he says, but I worry that now, for example, on 360 they had Craig Gower on, and Craig Gower's done it all. And wherever you feel about him and old guys coming on the show, whatever, I get that people have different feelings on that, but he just laughed and went, well, hang on, what's he done? And he was referring more to what's Nicho Hynes done as opposed to what have the Cronulla Sharks done. And the flip side of that is people get the stats and figures out and go, they've won 3 games since they won the premiership. And then Nicho can go, well, I've only been involved in 7 or 8 of them or whatever. The rest of them, so you look at it doesn't matter. Sharks have won 3 games since 2016. Yeah. There's no good way out of this unless they win the game, which I hope they do, and I'm confident they will. But I just thought Josh had brought something that wasn't required. Maybe it's more stress on the fans than the players.
I think so.
I'm sure the players are in their own bubble. Like, they're fine. I don't think if Nicho is man of the match or if he's the worst guy on the field, it's not good because of what he said. I truly believe that that's not the case. Yeah. I just do look at a team that went so under the radar, and what harm will it cause if one more week people go, they can't win? Like, there's no harm in one more week.
Yeah.
It's out there. We can't take it back. I support him as a player. I support him as a person. Huge fan of what he does. I think I said in the group text, I just wish it was one of the other 17 guys named this week and not him.
I think it's hard though, Sam, with, the going under the radar thing. With every week you progress, it's harder and harder to stay under the radar, because it's now like, okay, well, there's 2 teams gone. So it's like, okay, there's only 6 to talk about. Only 4 are playing this weekend. They're going to spend a lot of time on us, and they're going to analyze everything. If we had the week off, maybe it's not as intense because they've got other things to focus on. But and we're the game again that's probably more in the balance than I'd say the other game. You think the Panthers will probably win, and it's not as interesting to talk about. Whereas with this, it's like there's a lot on the line for the Raiders after their epic game last week. We've come off now. We're talking in the media. I think that's the pressure was probably already there, and it was going to be talked about regardless, I think, if Nicho said anything or not. But I do agree with the sentiment that, look, if he maybe didn't say anything, it would have been better. But he also did say in those quotes that, said if someone like Cam McInnes wouldn't give a crap what anyone says, someone like Ronaldo does. He's like, me, I'm probably a bit of both. Sometimes, it can get to me. Sometimes I don't care. So I think the quotes have been kind of pulled and pushed in ways that he didn't exactly mean it as well.
I will always defend anyone of our club who is defending our club. I will always defend them. And in this case, I will defend Nicho Hynes. I'm just letting everyone know that I would have probably advised him to hold off a week. But you know what? He would have gone, no, I'm going to speak my mind, because that's what he does. So bless him.
Back himself.
And I hope he's great. He's been in really good form all year. And I just know the problem I have, Josh, is I know how, like a lot of people, how the media works. And if we lose in a 94-minute cliffhanger by the scrape of of a post, it's going to be because he said that. You know what I mean? Like it's just going to come back. Yeah. So there's no other option than to win.
What are they going to say if we win? Then they're going to, you know what? Nicho said what he said. Like
you know what? You know what they're going to say? They're going to keep saying the same stuff. I really believe
was the one.
I just believe that they're going to say the same stuff. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because it only matters what you and I and our listeners and our members think of this great club. Like I get that. I'm not someone who's bound by the media, but because I'm surrounded by it, it sort of consumes me, whether I like it or not. And I didn't want to read, I'm just being honest, I didn't want to read that from anyone, let alone from him. And it's not his fault. It is not his fault. And I've spent way too long talking about it, and I apologize. What did you make of the vibe at the game last Saturday night, Josh?
I made a tweet about, and I said that I think it was a top 5 live sporting experience and I didn't say this, but with involving the Cronulla Sharks, I thought it was a top 5 sporting moment for me. For some reason, I got a lot of backlash about saying if a week 1 finals against top 8 was a top 5, then you've got problems. And I was like, mate, that's my experience.
You got backlash on the X? Is that what you're saying?
I did. Surprisingly, I was just trying to make a nice post about how much fun I had and watching my team win, and no one ever wants to see anyone happy on the internet for some reason. But I just thought it was so much fun, and I know that there was a bit of hoorah going on at the other end of the field. Didn't see it, or all around us. We had nothing but lovely people, Roosters fans, Sharks fans, neutrals that were there. Everyone was really kind. There wasn't any shouting out of, besides probably myself, but it was more just, it was very much like Roosters suck, nothing, all above board.
Yeah, nice.
And just the noise, the noise of when Toby scored is as loud as I've ever heard it. It was just like the pandemonium. And you can see it in the shots when that camera is on the back end and you just see people going absolutely nuts. I was the one hand fist, like over and over, jumping for joy. Like it was just the best. And I want to feel that again on Saturday. Yeah. I don't want it to stop.
No one can dispute what you feel. If you wrote that and you feel that, that's your story, dude. Yeah, obviously no one can, it's no one's business for starters. But I have no problem with you saying that. I mean, A, I was there and I agree. B, if you've got a problem with someone getting excited by a home game, let alone a week 1 final, I mean, I don't know what else you want to say about that. Oh, yeah, it was a good win. On to next week. No, you got to celebrate these moments, no matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're the Roosters or Melbourne or the Sharks. You got to celebrate these moments. And it was also, very satisfying to. And I'm not going to put too much shade on the Roosters because we've got a lot of friends who go for them, but it was actually very satisfying to put them in their place. Like you saw from the way they played, the way Teddy, who we love, and he was one of the best guys, and he was unstoppable the whole time. Yeah. But you saw the carry on, and that's part of his game. Like we see him once a year, so we don't really realize. But the carry on you don't see on the TV, just in the ref's grill the entire time. And they had a lot of fans there, and some of their fans, throughout the week and at the game were not particularly happy about being there. And it's just like, we get that, but now it's time just to enjoy the game and stop the carry on. And I was really happy to sort of send them on their way. And I don't really get that way too much, even with like,
we owed them that though. But we owed them
absolutely
that from 2 years ago.
Absolutely. But just all the crap about the stadium and all the crap about, just they're the Roosters. And I mean, you saw what happened today. Their boss said that he'll never allow someone to do drugs or be involved with drugs. They'll be sent on their way. And then today he's gone, well, I'll ban you for 10 weeks and I'll charge you a bunch of money. Like, you guys know what's happening, but it's just the whole thing's connected. They're an elite club, but they also act like an elite club. And if you know what I mean there, I mean by more like elitist. And I just thought, you know what? Good on us for doing that. We're the underdog. We're the ones that can't afford anything. And we're the ones, that whatever. And look at us. We've sent you packing. And I was really happy for that. I thought that I just had a fear that they were going to somehow steal it. And I'm so glad they didn't. because I thought we thoroughly deserved the win. So I was pretty happy. We're all pretty happy. It was a good vibe. I got to do the show from the ground afterwards, and a lot of people hung around, and people were sort of razzing me while I was trying to do the show, and really good stuff, and met a lot of our listeners, and people were really keen to soak up that atmosphere. They didn't really want to leave necessarily, and last home game of the year, etc. So a great effort by everyone involved. Super happy. It's a bit weird when the NRL run things, I'll tell you that, like from just, from the fireworks to the music to, it was just a little bit of a like, we're at Shark Park, but someone else is kind of running the show. But having said that, I thought the game lived up to it, man. Like, what a great game. I didn't see two horrible teams out there. And I think anyone who thinks that we can't go on to do special things this year, they're not really watching us closely enough, Josh. Like we've still got room for improvement on last week. So I thought against Canterbury, we were like near perfect. Against the Roosters, probably at about, I don't know, gun to my head, 83, 85%. Like there's a big improvement there still, particularly with handling and that kind of stuff. So get that right, and they'll be really hard to beat. And now, now's the time they have to get it right. If they don't get it right against Canberra, the season's over. So, but I do get a lot of quiet joy now, Josh, when people on the TV, on the radio, just go, nah, they can't win it. It's like, what do you mean we can't win it? We're 3 weeks away from winning it.
Literally. Like,
oh, they can't beat top 8 teams. Well, we just beat the Dogs. We beat the Roosters.
It's the same narrative. And that's, again, I guess what Nicho's saying is no one gives us the chance. And the only way to really silence them properly is to go and win the thing.
Sure.
And it's 1 week at a time. And I get all that. And it's like, the opportunity is there if they want it. If they don't want anyone to talk crap anymore, and if they want to have a ring and they want to have all the, all the triumphs and all the highs and everything that comes with winning comp, you've got to do it. You've got to win 3 more games, and they're going to be 3 bloody tough games. It doesn't get much harder than Canberra, Melbourne, Broncos, Panthers, Dogs. Like,
stop it.
If you win it, you earn it. And people are gonna go, okay, well done, fair enough. Like, people will be eating their words.
Yeah, of course.
Again,
I hope they will.
A massive challenge. Well,
I hope they will.
You never know with the media, but
yeah, it's 1 week at a time. Like, we like to think ahead, but 1 week at a time, and it's a big one coming up. Now, let's get to that. More important than media rubbish. We are playing 7:50 on Saturday night. Do you think a night time benefits either team, or you think it'll be similar of?
I think it benefits Canberra. I do, especially there. It's going to be cold. It's going to be slippery. It's going to be dewy on the surface. I don't know what the weather prediction is. I'm assuming it's not going to be raining, but they're as hard to beat as anyone in the comp on a cold night down there. It's like it's that that Melbourne at night in Melbourne. Like, it's pretty. It's as hard as especially this year when they've been so good and so consistent. But you've just got to factor in that we're going to be able to match that, and there's got to be mental scars there, Sam. Like, there has to be self-doubt, no matter what they would say to each other or to the media. You've got to think that subconsciously there are scars there, and they're a young team. So maybe it's water off a duck's back. I don't know, but that's got to have taken something out of you to celebrate twice, thinking you've won it, and then to play 94 minutes in an absolute blockbuster epic, which I don't know if we want to mention that. That was one of the greatest games of rugby league I've ever seen.
Just while you're talking about weather and water off a duck's back, I thought you were being a bit dramatic because we're midway through September and you're like, it's going to be cold, whatever. If I'm looking at this app right, Canberra, Saturday, 85% chance rain, 4 to 14 degrees.
Wow.
Friday, tomorrow, as we're recording, or some people listening probably today, Friday, 95% rain. So I didn't quite realize that's what was going to be happening. Who knows?
Things.
I don't know when the rain's going to be, etc. And it's just an app, so it could get it wrong. But yeah, It could change things. I don't know.
That puts it
I
back
guess
in
that
our
does.
favor, I think.
Well, how is that? Why is that?
I just think that Canberra are a team that love to use the ball and they love to shift it around and they love to put plays on, and in the rain with the desperation in mind and coming off, like they might play more within themselves because of that.
Gotcha.
And I just
Sort of
think
slow them down.
being restricted by that and with all the baggage that comes with that may play into our hands, because we'll just want to play through the middle. We want to be strong defensively and win 10-8 if we have to.
Yeah, okay. But we do like to shift it a little bit. We're a little bit flamboyant.
We do, but I think it's as much as we like to throw it around, there is a structured chaos to our play.
Yeah.
And I think with Canberra, when they're at their best, there is a little bit of that improv. We kind of don't know what we're doing, but it works, and we get the bounce of the ball. I think that it could take away 10 to 15% of what makes them so good. I like us in the rain more than not, and day footy, it would scare me even more.
Yeah. Okay. So team named is the same as last week, essentially. So Billy Burns stays at number 11. The immediate bench is Britton Nikora, Sifa Talakai, Oregon Kafusi, and Braden Hamlin-Welly. 18th man, Dan Atkinson. But hovering very tall in the distance is Tom Hazelton, amongst other people like Mawini and like Jaden Berrell and like Hohepa Puru. But at this point in time, so we won't know for 24 hours, Tall Tom is still a good chance of playing. So that will affect your bench. And there are a few different things you could do there, Josh. You could start Britain, and then you could have 4 big buggers on the bench. So you would have Talakai, Kafusi, Hamlin-Welly, and Tall Tom, and then Billy Burns would miss out. You could have Billy Burns starting, Britton Nikora on the bench. Talakai's not going anywhere. And then you'd have to choose between an Oregon Kafusi and a Braden Hamlin-Welly if Tall Tom is fit. Let's say you go with the latter and you've got to get rid of a proper middle. Who are you leaving out, Oregon Kafusi or Braden Hamlin-Welly?
It's a tough one, man. It's a tough one. Neither of them deserve to be out, but Tommy has to play. If he's ready to go, if he's fit and he's clear.
This is the question.
Right now, I'm probably really unfairly dropping Kafusi. Purely just because I think Ueli has just something a little bit more to offer against a really big, strong Raiders pack that's going to need a dent in it. And if you want to go really defensive, you keep Kafusi, sure. But I just think with what Ueli has been offering lately and the tackle bust and the big hits he's been putting on, just think he adds a little bit more. And Tommy's so good defensively. It's almost a muchness defensively between him and Kafusi. They both rarely miss tackles. You just get a bit more punch and you get that try scoring opportunity close to the line with Tommy.
So the Raiders do like to play down the middle.
They do.
And so that's why Kafusi will factor heavily into being chosen.
That's why it's so hard.
You bring great points about Braden Hamlin-Welly. This is why the coach gets a lot more money than what you and I do. Let me ask you this.
Well, what would you do, Sam, before you ask, what would you do? You're the coach. Coach Shinazzi.
You know what? Defense wins matches. We're picking Kafusi, but he's listening to Ride the Lightning by Metallica before he goes out. I get to face slap him and also lecture him about being in the moment, and not to suggest that he's not. He's a very solid player, but you know what I'm saying? Like, he has to have a really great game because Hamlin-Welly's going to have a great game because he's in really good form. But I think defensively, he gets the spot should it come down to those two guys. But it does pay me to say that because I like BHU a lot. And I don't think you're necessarily seeing him miss a lot of tackles. I just don't know if you're seeing Kafusi miss too many at all.
Sure.
I was going to ask you, though, Are you starting Billy Burns? Are you keeping him in your team? Because if you remove Billy Burns, then you don't have the only problem you have is you're missing Billy Burns, and he's been absolutely great for the past couple of months. We know this. So I'm not saying you should. I'm saying would you to solve the rest of the problem?
Oh, that's even harder, Sam. I've never really thought about it.
Because then Britt just goes in and you got your 4-man bench.
Yeah, it's just I've just loved seeing Billy reward the coach with his selection, on the weekend. Like, he took a punt on playing Billy after he earned that. Don't get me wrong, he earned the right to start. But I love the fact that he rewarded Fitzy with showing faith in him. And I think that's something you don't want to lose that, because he probably still feels like he has so much to prove that he was just going to go out there and give it everything. And he did. Like, that's why they pulled him off, because he had nothing left in the tank.
Yeah.
And that's why, and it worked as well. I liked that. And Jard said something in the group chat the other day that really resonated with me. Is like, if you play Billy for 50 minutes and it's not working, or it is working regardless, you bring on Nikora for that final 30, and you just throw, it's a whole different beast you're throwing at him fresh after 50 minutes. Like, I do really like that. But if you tell me right now Fitz is going to say, no, Nikora's starting, he's playing 80, and we're having the four big boppers on the bench, I'm fine with that too. It sucks for Billy. So my answer is I don't have an answer. I'm happy either way.
It's interesting because given what the coach has shown in Billy Burns, I'm not suggesting to you he's going to be doing anything different. I'm just saying these are all what ifs. So I know people sometimes read into what I say a bit heavy, but this is not the time to do it. These are all what ifs.
I don't think he will, Sam. I don't think he'll drop him. I think he'll keep Billy starting, personally.
He's got no reason to. I'm just, we're just trying to make that bench work.
It's a good problem to have instead of being busted.
Yeah, I do think on form, Hamlin William might just grab that spot if it comes down to those two guys. Obviously, Talakai is not going anywhere. You would think Britain would play in some capacity now. Yeah. So if Tall Tom is fit, it's still an if. He's still got to pass a few tests, but we know he has travelled. That's a great thing. And, by the time you hear this, maybe it's been dumbed down a bit for you, but at the moment, we're 24 hours away from that. So looking at Canberra, we do need to attack their right edge, which is thankfully our stronger side of left attack. I will say this, Josh, I wouldn't be spending every living moment doing it. I would definitely pepper it. I would come back to it. I wouldn't give up on it. But I want some alternatives there. I know there will be alternatives, but I just think that let them know we're coming, but don't spend every waking minute there. And I do want to see the Middles and Blake really shore up that line, because Tom Starling and in particular Owen Paddy are going to come out and look to run. They're going to run a lot. And the answer isn't necessarily, well, Blake should run. I'm more worried about us defending their run. Yeah. And I'll tell you this, Owen Paddy's, he can do it all. He can kick, he can pass, he can run. He's a very, very, very good young player. And I have this sense that I don't normally get, where I'm particularly worried about Owen Paddy for some reason. Hopefully I'm completely wrong. But I do think, along with Tom Starling, two of the better, younger, probably not superstar hookers in the game. And, they finish first easily. And there's a reason why. And it's all over the park, but their spine's been really good. As far as kicking, I mean, KO Weeks is unbelievable. I would probably target Tamale more than Jed Stewart, but Jed Stewart's got an error in him, but he's also pretty good. He's also good. Halves, I think, halves. We say forwards win matches, and they probably will this weekend, but I think the halves are going to tell a big story here. So we've got our boys against Ethan Strange and Jamal Fogarty. Ethan Strange is in unbelievable form. He has the world at his feet. One of those players where you kind of want to, think, oh, well, they're pretty good, but you know how we sort of probably still feel about Lockie Galvin? Like, oh, he's pretty good, but not the hype. This guy's the hype. Like, this guy's just Really, really
100%.
good.
He's my
They
number
kind
one
of,
fear. He's my
yeah,
number
okay.
one.
So they muddled up what happened last week. Short turnaround for them. Going to do a lot of light sessions, and that'll mean um, a lot of practicing walking around the field and where they're going to be and where they're going to do things. I don't think this week you'll see them have as much issue with the field goal as they did last week. But having said that, it's still in their blood. It's in their system at the moment, so a lot of kick pressure, keep them in bad places, and that's the way around that. At this point in time, touch wood, I will back Nicho over Jamal Fogarty. Jamal, I've seen him miss some real easy things in the past
Just out of
month where you
nowhere,
think the
hey.
game's over. And I like him. I think he's a really good player. And I'm happy he's going to Manly for a bunch of years and a bunch of money. Like, I really like him. I think he's a good character, good player. I'd like him at my team if I didn't have who I had. Like, I'd be open to him being a Shark. I quite like him. But he does get rattled. Same could be said about our guy over the past 4 years by other people more than us. But one of them's got to get it right. That's the beauty of this. One of them is going to kick the field goal. One of them is going to set up the match-winning try. Hopefully it's our guy. But they're good halves. Fogarty and Strange are good halves. And as I said, it's not a fluke they finished first. I will come back to that forward pack. Their forward pack is really good. It's big. Now, our number one thing, Josh, we're going to have to do is cut those offloads out. They're, I think, second or third rank for offloads. We're about fifth worst now. We've sort of improved on conceding, but we're still conceding offloads. Against the Roosters, I love what we did. It was almost like we built a wall around these players. They'd make a run, and three guys would just surround him, and he couldn't get the ball out. The Roosters are kind of a bigger pack, taller pack, but we're going to have to do something very similar. And the number one thing they're going to have to do is adapt if the offload happens, because when we've played Canberra, even historically since 2016, when they offload, we just tend to go into slow motion. So I don't mind if I see him, but the next play has to be shut down. So I'm sure they're working on that. I'm sure they're speaking about it. But even if you just look at the stats, Raiders offload a lot more than what we do, and we concede a lot more than what they do. So that's going to be a bit of a problem for us. But defensively, we've been great for the last 7 or 8 weeks, so we're in good form. Play to your strengths, and I think you win the game. How are you feeling, Josh? Realistically, from the heart, how are you feeling right now?
Look, I'm nervous, no doubt. I mean, this is a massive, massive game and a massive scalp. I see ways that we win. I think that's the most important thing. I can see how we can win the game.
Yeah.
Fogarty does probably 90 to 95% of their kicking. So he's going to get the ball in the last. He ran the ball a few times on the fourth, and you could see the difference when Strange was kicking. They were nowhere near as deep or as accurate. So 9 times out of 10, Fogarty's going to get the ball, pressure him, get under the pump. You know that he's going to be at first receiver on last. I think their edges, obviously we know their right edge is weak defensively. I think Ronaldo has the ability to probably outleap and get a couple on Jed. But Tamale, as good as he is coming out of yardage, I do see there's weakness there on his reads. And if Nicho can find space and find a cutout ball for Katoa, there are points there. Absolutely.
Okay.
And I think that you've just got to shut down Hudson. I thought he's had a pretty poor end to the year, but I thought on the weekend he was back to his absolute insane beast best. We've got to shut him down because he's so much is created around him because it's him and Strange next to each other. And so many of their points come from there. And that will be Nicho and Teague there. There's a Nicho or there's a Brit, whoever it is. That edge is going to be targeted heavily. That they need to be on top of that and expect the unexpected. Offloads, flick passes, thrown over the head, kicking behind. Be ready for everything because that is where they're going to come for us. thankfully, I think Nicho's been really strong defensive this year and was again on the weekend, which I think, again, another underrated aspect of his game defensively. One of the best halves in the comp. And like you said, the offloads, you shut down, just don't give them, we can't give them multiple opportunities. No, we can't give them 3-6 agains and penalty goals and shots at the line because they will score.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, thankfully our discipline's pretty good. I think we do receive the most penalties and we don't concede that many compared to other teams. So all that stuff should be in line. And it's just about going out there playing your best footy. And if you play your best footy, you'll probably win the game. You know, if you go out there and don't give yourself a chance in finals footy, you're just not going to get it done. And throughout the year, you can beat this team, beat that team. We know what we have to do. And you know, when I think about even just last year, I won't go to years before that, but last year, the game in Melbourne, in it for a while, they got away with it. Cowboys outstanding. Penrith, pretty good on some diabolical completion rates, still pretty good. Hung with them for an hour. So it's not like we're getting shamed in these finals games. Great win this last game against the Roosters. So I know that we've only won 3 since 2016, but sometimes you just can't look at it that way. I understand people who do. I'm not saying they're wrong, but it's a new year. It's a different team. And they've got that experience last year. They've got experience of losing prelim. They've got an experience of going to Las Vegas. They've got more experience at Magic Round. There's a lot of experience in this team. They've traveled a lot. The road trip this time won't phase them. They've already gone to Canberra. They left on Thursday afternoon. They'll be acclimatized. The weather now is an interesting thing, Josh. If that comes true, it may not, but if it does, might be some wet weather football. And yeah, ready to go. I mean, the number one thing I would love to say to these guys, Josh, and I didn't get the chance this week to do it, unfortunately, but hopefully next week I will. But not that they need someone like me to say it to them, but I would love to say to them, you know, this doesn't come around every. So, you know, it does. You can't rely on this happening every year. I know it does for us, but right now you got a really good team. You're really good form. You've probably never been closer as a team, as a unit, and you go to Canberra, which is doable. And I would just say, make the most of it. You know, if that try's there, take the try. Don't knock it on. Don't put your foot out. Don't obstruct someone so that your mate can't score a try. You know, just play smart footy. Like,
and back yourself.
Don't be careful. Like, you can't. Like, that was the one thing I saw last week, Josh, against the Roosters, was from very early on, Will Kennedy getting big ball catches and then swooping to one side, usually to the left, finding his mate Ronaldo with 20-meter passes, and then making 20, 25, even longer meters. But, you know, the heart races in a finals elimination game when they're doing that. But it's like, well, I can't get mad at you for doing it now. You've been doing it every game this year, and it's led you to this path. So I'm with you. Don't shut up shop. But I would say to them, when it matters, make the most of it, because it's finals footy, and it's cliche, but it's just one wrong move and you're out, you know? So it's a lot of pressure.
You might only get 10 chances on their line. You literally may get 10 chances in 80 minutes to score enough points to win. So it's like, if you're down there 10 times, you got to score 4. You know, you got to score 3 or 4 tries to beat. Like, we've seen on the weekend that they can score freely at any time. Don't get a bloody sin bin and give them the chance, you know, to break down the play. Take your kicks, bring it back. Don't make errors in your half. That's the biggest one. We cannot give them easy sets.
I have to say, Josh, to our very wide and awesome audience, that we know they know this. You and I are just sort of emoting to each other. I don't personally need to go say to one of them, hey, make the most of your opportunities, because it's not my job and it's not my business. They'll just say, what are you talking about? I know this. I'm just talking to you, mate to mate, about what I would personally love to just whisper into someone's ear and go, hey, go get it. You know, like, don't
back yourself.
Don't muck it up. Yeah, back yourself. Absolutely. Really good season. We expected a little bit more, but maybe that more is coming now, Josh. So let's stay on the path. And a lot of people heading down to Canberra, which is awesome. Now, we should point out there are 4 games happening that day. There is Jersey Flag, there's Harvey Norman Women's, and there's NRLW, and then NRL Men in 3 different locations. But huge day for the club, and it shows, like our mate Ricky said on the show the other week, it shows how good they're going, given the fact that we don't exactly have the best or most expensive training gear or elaborate training facilities, but what we have is a lot of heart, really good staff, and a really good crew of players from all levels, and it shows. Like, no one else is really doing that right now. I don't think Penrith's doing it. Like, no one's really doing it at this level. So the further we can do that this year in each grade, I'm thoroughly blown away, because it took someone like Ricky to point out to me that this isn't if you haven't heard it, go listen to Ricky from the other week, but his basic sentiment, and I'm paraphrasing, is we probably shouldn't be this successful, but we are. That's what I took from it, at least.
Absolutely.
So, and the proof is on Saturday with 4 games, and there'd be 5 if the Jets weren't knocked out. They are. That's fine. But there's 4 teams still alive, and that's awesome. So we are looking forward to it, Josh. We're planning on doing a few more eps for everyone before the game starts, but we'll see how that proceeds. There's a bunch of stuff happening in everyone's worlds that, kind of slows down the kind of stuff that we like to do with SharkCast, but we'll definitely get some more things to you. What that is, we'll let you know. Stay tuned to our socials and subscribe to your podcast app, subscribe to YouTube, wherever you listen to us, and then you'll stay on top of what we're doing, because we'll pop up, and if we don't have time to promote it, you won't know about it. So make sure you subscribe. It's free. It takes one hit of a button, and then you're all set. If you don't know how to do that kind of stuff, as crazy as that may be, whether you're young or old, or like me, you're in between, but you don't know what the hell you're doing, send us a DM and we'll talk you through whatever we need to do. This is SharkCast Pod. That is Josh Bolling. I love him very much. He's a great, great guy. And we have a lot of fun when we go to the footy. And when we don't go to the footy, we have fun like this, talking about footy. And we want to thank everyone for all their great support this year. It's been amazing. It's not over. And guess what? When it is over, it's still not going to be over. You won't keep getting rid of us. Up Cronulla. We will talk to you soon. You know what? Let's go get it, Josh. Let's go win. Let's proceed to a prelim. Nothing says nerves like a prelim. I want to feel those nerves again. Up Cronulla. We will talk to you all soon. Let's go.